It's everybody's favorite time. This is Why Libertarian. My name is Matt, coming at you every single Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. This is your weekly dose of Liberty Live. Awesome episode today. I have a couple of pieces of housekeeping to get out of the way. As usual, like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, retweet, get this out there. We're talking about some fun stuff today, decentralizing, Hive blockchain, all kinds of stuff. So definitely put it out there, especially if any of your online fam can benefit from this or would be interested. Another announcement we have coming up, our third. Hold on, gotta get out of the lights. Our third Libertarian Book Club coming up at the end of March. It's going to be the 26th to the 27th. We're doing Enough Already by Scott Horton. Read along with us. Come show up to the live cast. Comment and question. You can catch that live here on this channel or also on Blue Star Union. It's just at Blue Star Union if you want to check that out. Again, pay attention. It's the 26th or 27th. We have the New Jersey Libertarian Party convention this next weekend, so we got to figure out the timing then. But definitely come hang out with us. Even if you didn't read the book, you're gonna learn some pretty incredible, ridiculous shit when it comes to foreign policy with the United States. I got to tell you that right now. I'm like halfway through it, and it's mind-altering, incredible. So. As I mentioned earlier, we are on this path of decentralizing. We're talking about blockchain technology, how we can basically get away from areas of centralized control. I have a very special guest with me this evening. Her name is Snook. She is very involved in a number of programs or projects that are going on in the Hive ecosystem. Snook, thank you very much for joining me.
You're very welcome.
Now, you're coming to us from beautiful Wisconsin currently, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think you guys are still in the ends of winter, as am I in New Jersey.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think what we get then goes over next to you then.
Yeah.
Makes its way across.
We'll take it. As long as the spring and the summer are shortly behind that, we'll take it. So, one of the things that we first started talking about, or rather before we kind of like get into the specifics of what you're working on the blockchain, one of the things that we were talking about offline before this episode was, just kind of like, how you came to be involved in the blockchain. A lot of people think it's like a young person's game, right? Like you got to be, a 20, 30-year-old techie who's like all into crypto and all kinds of other stuff. But how did you come to blockchain and getting involved in this ecosystem?
My son made me do it.
Yeah. You got roped in, huh?
My son is eco-instant, and due to health issues, couldn't work. Mm-hmm. And I'd been home a long time, and he was trying to get me involved in blogging, and just to give me something to do, mm-hmm. so that I wasn't just sitting here and feeling sorry for myself, basically.
Sure.
And then he found Steemit, and then tried to talk me into it and was telling me how easy it was and this and that. So I got my friend Simgirl to join, figuring mm-hmm. then he'd leave me alone, which then they both got on my case.
So what would you blog about in the beginning? Like what was
that was the thing. I'm like, I don't have anything to, I was playing Hearthstone. So actually the first couple blogs that I did were me playing Hearthstone.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So, and I'm 56, and I've been on here for 3.5 years.
Oh wow. Okay. So you're not a spring chicken. That's good.
No, and I knew absolutely nothing about blogging. I knew nothing about crypto. I knew nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't know Markdown. I didn't. Well, now with you don't have. There's some that you can get on and not have to know Markdown, like mm-hmm. When I started. But no, so it was mentally really good because you had to learn a lot, and I did it where I just learned blogging first, and I didn't even have to worry about the crypto.
Yeah.
part of it because you don't. You can come on and just blog, and then people will vote on you, or you go talk to other people and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you're what you make, which when I started, I mean, I was getting a 10 cents for a post, because nobody knew me except for my son who would vote on my stuff.
Yeah. Well, but that's actually an interesting point to start off with is most folks, when they start a blog, you can't really monetize it day one, right? Like, even if it's 5 cents that you make, like, you can't even do that. On Hive, you have that capability, right?
Absolutely. If you my biggest thing is that if you are new to Hive and you write a post and you post it, then go around to other people's that are writing about the same thing, or that, anything that you're interested in, and comment on their stuff.
Yeah.
And first of all, they're going to see that your reputation is 25, which is what you start at. So they're going to already know that you're a newer person. So if you're commenting on somebody with a 50, 55 reputation, it goes pretty fast from 25 to 55.
Yeah.
So they're still kind of new. So they're looking for a community, also.
Yep.
And that's how I met people.
Yeah. And that's the other angle here is with the traditional social media platforms, traditional blogging platforms and things like that, you're like a nothing. Like, you're swimming against the current the entire time until, like, maybe you get lucky and something goes viral or someone picks up your stuff and shares it. This is a collaborative effort. Like, you can get a group of people together and grow together, right?
Yeah. And actually there's what is it called?
While you're thinking about that, In the Now thought there was going to be free beer. I think you had promised free beer somewhere along the way.
I think I owe him some free beer.
And Shadows Publishing also thought there was free beer and things that they got. Yes, yeah.
We'll be sending beer to
Pennsylvania
and Canada.
The shipping will be more expensive than the beer itself, but
I think so.
We can make it happen, maybe.
Can I send some gnomes along there, Shadows?
Yeah. So, I love the ecosystem because you don't have to, like, dump a ton of money in it to buy crypto to be relevant day one. Like, you can work your way up, and you can do it by, it's actually probably more effective, right? By creating a band or a group or a community in order to kind of interact with, or at least working into the ones that exist there. And they benefit too, right? Like, from you upvoting their stuff, from you interacting with their things. So there's not like a one-way road where it's just, you're putting out the content and someone like, YouTube or Facebook or whatever is benefiting from that. You all kind of benefit together.
Well, and the thing is that all you have, it's your time. It doesn't cost you any money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it is your time. I mean, that costs you. That's your initial cost, is your time. One of the things that when I started, you got 35. When I started, you had enough. They delegated 35 crypto to you, and until you got to 500 on your own, and then you got the slider, and that was a whole big thing.
Right.
So we didn't have problems with running out of. I mean, I could comment as much as I wanted. I could write 2 posts a day if I really wanted to, that kind of thing.
Right.
Nowadays, you start with like 2, I think, 2 Hive. I don't know if that's given or if that's donate. I'm not sure. And so, like, if you have a friend that is new, the nicest thing you can do is delegate 50 hive to them.
Right.
Because then they can go out and comment as much as they want.
Right.
And then get the rapport with people, like-minded people.
Yep.
And so I ended up meeting a whole group of people through the free writers, which started up, luckily for me, and so that's how I got involved with a small group of people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then from there, Shadows Pub actually ran Pimp Your Post Thursday. And it was. Yeah.
I love the name.
Yeah, PYPT. And that was where I met a lot of it, because it was like a non-group. It wasn't MSP,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't the Alliance, and it wasn't. There was a whole bunch of different. There was people from all over that would go there, and there was a morning show and an evening show because of the different times in the world.
Yeah.
So there were people that were there all day, and there were people that, woke up at 10:30. There were, all different kinds of people, but you got to know them.
Yeah.
And get to know their posts, and they would talk about their posts. So even if you read it and you didn't really understand the meaning behind it, when you heard him talking about it, it was really cool.
Mm.
And and that was all through Discord. And so that made it really nice, because you really got to get to know people on a personal level.
Yeah.
And but I personally stayed away from Discord for the first 3 months, because I knew what a rabbit hole Discord was, because I played World of Warcraft and was already on Discord and knew what it was about.
Yeah.
So it was and where a friend of mine, some girl, she went right to Discord and got involved with mental support and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then roped me into doing a radio show with her over there. So, I've kind of ran the gamut of, and we used to run a karaoke contest.
Oh, really?
And, yeah. So people would do live karaoke in video form.
Yeah.
And then they would post it. And we had support from one of the witnesses at the time, Surpassing Google. I think he's still a witness, but I'm not sure where he is in the list.
Mm-hmm.
And then Curie was a witness too, and their votes, and they supported us also. So the prizes, people would put their videos in there, and then they would end up with 20. We'd split 20 hive between three people.
Mm-hmm.
So you can make it whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a way of getting out other people, that because there was Spanish community started coming in and doing stuff too. Yeah. So it was really neat. It started with the core group, in the Now, we made him do it.
If In the Now is still watching, definitely let us know whether or not you think where out of 10 do you think you ended up on that one. No, that's awesome. The one impression I've gotten as a complete newbie to the space is there is a huge sense of community, the broader community of devs and people that are running witnesses and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, because they have, they were the first movers and they have a very deep invested interest. In the Now set of 2 out of 10. Just even the newer people that are coming in, there are things that are set up to bring them into the community and help them feel integrated. It is not again, with the traditional ecosphere of social media and things like that. That's not the sense at all. The sense is it's crabs in a bucket and you got to climb to the top, right?
No, and it's very different. When I started, it was that way. It was, yeah, it was
Yeah.
actually. I used to do a show called um, where I would interview people from Steam It, and if they said the word Steam It, then they had to pay so many,
Yeah.
so many whatever. And
Was this after the fork or before the fork?
this is before the fork.
Okay, all right. So it was like I don't know if you ever knew the show like you can't do that on television. Like if you said I don't know, like you would get slimed or whatever. I don't know if
Yeah.
you
Well,
know that far
if
back.
you
Yeah.
said the word Steam It, then they had to pay a penalty. It was called Pants Are Optional.
Yeah.
And so then the money every 3 months would go to a charity
Oh, it's awesome.
that was on the blockchain. So it was really fun. It was really fun to do.
I haven't really been introduced to it, but are there many charities that are either developed for the blockchain, or like they launched on the blockchain, or just is there a big charitable component in terms of like charities that now also have a place on the blockchain when
There
they're
used
also
to be
traditional?
more
Okay.
back in the day, and unfortunately, like anything else, there was a couple bad ones.
Okay.
And then people, when it came to charity, I mean, like a group charity thing, um, I'm sure there's still some that
Hmm.
are out there. There was one in Venice, in South America, let's just
Okay.
say, that I think he might still be around, and any money that he makes, a lot of it goes down to there,
Hmm.
but not as much as there was back in the beginning.
Okay. Yeah,
In
and
the
depending
old,
on the one thing I think a lot of organizations like that run into is, whether or not they're going to run afoul of, IRS considerations and lose their, whatever their 501c3 status or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
and part of it though is, I mean, I've seen, there was a man who he did logos, and his laptop broke,
Hmm. Hmm.
and he needed like $50 or whatever to get it fixed, and that was his only livelihood, and it was in a part of a country that was not nice,
Yep.
not safe, and
Yep.
they were trying to get out and this and that, so he needed the money to get his family out of the country. So that kind of thing, a bunch of people then sent him Hive. And so then he got to fix his computer, and they got out of the country. And so, I mean, there's other ways of helping people,
Yeah.
not that you want everybody, asking for money or
Sure.
anything like that, but you end up knowing the good people and the ones that help you. And then if you see that they need help, you can just quietly do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a big deal about it. Um,
I love that. It's like an avenue for you've heard the phrase micro lending. Have you heard of that concept before?
no.
Like loaning out small amounts of money. Who was it? Guy by the name of Muhammad Yunus won the Nobel Prize for Economics. I'm going back like 10 years now. He started a bank over in India, in Bangladesh. And what he
Mhm.
found was that a lot of people needed, they didn't need hundreds of dollars, right?
No.
They were in like a third world country, so they needed like, singles or tens of dollars.
Right.
And so he founded a bank that the majority of what it did was just made $5 and $10 loans to these people to buy a goat to start a business to milk the goat, or buy food for their fruit stand or whatever, and things like that. So and it grew into this really big entity, still is to this day.
Yeah.
So crypto is actually would be perfectly fit, and I don't know if they're using
Right.
it currently. I think some of the countries that micro lending is really kind of built out in, they're a little bit more authoritarian too in terms of how they control things. But crypto sounds like it would be something that would be an amazing avenue for something like that if someone had to raise $50 or $100 in order to kind of launch a business or keep themselves afloat.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a young man on Hive that I've known since he started a little after I did, not much.
Hmm.
And he's with crypto that he's made from vlogging, and he's a poet and he does videos, and he writes posts, so he does everything like I do. I mean, he put his hands in everything.
Yeah.
He's sending himself through college.
Wow.
So he's from
Funded through crypto. That's incredible.
and he's from Nigeria, and
That's
I
awesome.
mean, there's a young man who's Polish, and him and his wife had a little baby, and I mean, I had a contest of who could make me laugh, and his video was just it cracked me up
Yeah.
totally. I mean, and it came out of nowhere, and
He,
it was just hilarious. And I mean, again, really nice young man,
Mhm.
didn't want to live with his wife and baby at his parents' house. And I mean, he works a full-time job, and then he does stuff on Hive, and he does gaming and that, and he wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for the platform that we have.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing is that you can do anything you can think of.
Mhm.
There is nothing that is holding you back, because I mean, I was on a radio show.
Mhm.
I did my own talk show. I do videos. I mean, I name something, and I've done it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how much time do you want to put into it? Do you like to learn? What's your, I mean, there used to be cooking contests where, I mean, and they were like fancy schmancy.
Yeah.
This guy would give you like ingredients, and I mean, I'm just a home cook. I'm a Midwest cook. I can make something out of nothing, but there were people that were plating, and I mean, it was gorgeous
Yeah.
food.
That's
And
awesome.
then they would get prizes, and there used to be a comedy one too,
Yeah.
where if you get a little backing, or you get people voting on the post, and I mean, everything's going to start small, and people have to realize that everything starts small. I mean,
Yeah.
you could put out a post and I had a friend, some girl, she would get $300 posts when we started, and I was getting 10 cents. Well,
Yeah.
that's fine. But she was a writer and knew what the heck she was doing.
No.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So, and she
But
felt
but the beauty is you get to earn while you learn, right? Like
right.
even if it's 10 cents, that's 10 cents that you made.
Exactly. And
Yes.
now I have 10,000
Yeah. That's awesome.
or
I
five or
so
whatever.
Brisby Mouse said there's a few, in reference to nonprofits, there's a few generating funds for feeding kids in classrooms, and one that I know of to support Australian firefighters. So that's
Oh,
interesting.
yeah.
So, yeah, so you still have some that are pretty active.
Thanks, Bruce.
We had one other question. This is actually my brother tuning in from Georgia. Other than no government influence, how are these transactions considered, quote unquote, different than, say, like a social currency? I think they're kind of similar in a way in terms of like a social currency, but that being said, I mean they hold value. I mean you can convert readily back and forth into fungible forms of currency. So,
Well,
but
you can turn it into fiat.
yep,
Like you go to Bittrex and turn the Hive into Bitcoin, and then you turn the Bitcoin into USD
yep.
if you're in Georgia, and that gets sent to your bank.
Yes, yeah. I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and I think a lot of folks, and part of the reason why I said that trope at the beginning about like it's a young person's game is a lot of mostly older folks that I've talked to about crypto. They say, oh well, that's digital monopoly money, like it's not based off of anything.
There's young people that say that though too.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah, there is. That is true. But The way I explain it is this: like, currency has a value because of the perception of it, but there's also supposed to be some relationship to like the productivity of the organization or the country that's putting the currency out, right? So this currency is based off of the general productivity of the ecosystem on the blockchain, right? The digital
Right.
ecosystem. And
Right.
so that's why when you put out a post or like other people's posts or you're active and bring people into the conversation, you're earning while you do that because that's building the productivity and the activity within the ecosystem. And so that's like the easiest way I've found. Do you have like another kind of like common sense way of explaining to someone if they're like, well, what the heck is crypto? Like, why is it even worth anything?
Well, I looked at it. Okay, just gonna go from my personal experience.
Sure.
I did not up until about 6 months ago, 7 months ago, actually figure out how to turn my stuff. Actually, a year ago.
Mhm.
Take it back. A year ago, I did not know how to turn my crypto into cash
Okay.
to my bank. So I always looked at it as a long-term savings fund, and I still do, because
Okay.
our retirement fund,
Mm.
because you have to look at the stock market. I look at it like a stock market.
Mhm.
And the stock market goes up, it goes down. This happens to go up and down faster, and people look at it more
Right.
because it's like your post will say $6, and then the next minute it'll say $5, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, what the heck, where did my dollar go?
Right. Right.
And I mean, it will fluctuate until it pays out after 7 days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I learned at my own pace, and that was the big important thing for me,
Mm.
because when I got here, there was bots that you could have them vote on your post if you wanted to or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember going into a group meeting, and it was all about bots, and I got a headache, and I'm like, I gotta go. See you later. Bye. The next day, I wrote a DM to a friend of mine, and I'm like, what the heck were you talking about?
Right.
I really have no clue, and I would like to at least understand it. And I said, so can you tell me in like fifth grade or 5-year-old terms, like you're
Yeah.
talking to your daughter who's 5? So he came back, and it was like, and I said, okay, now would your daughter understand what you just wrote? And I mean, and he goes, well, no. I said, okay, now try again.
Yeah. Aim lower.
Lower, lower, lower.
Did you ever get it explained?
And then he did.
Okay,
And
all
I
right,
was
it's
like,
good.
okay, well, all right. It's something that I'm not gonna, like. I tried it, and I lost money both times I did it,
Mhm.
which I knew I was going to, because it was like there was such a thing you had to really be watching, and I
Sure.
don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, just let me do posts, and
Yeah.
just let me do my own thing.
Well, I think that's a good example too. Like everyone thinks, and this just isn't just blockchain and crypto and things like that. It's anything in life, right? Like
Right.
when presented with this thing that you don't know about, you almost feel like you have to become an overnight expert or
No.
completely displace yourself from it.
Right.
You can just dip your toe in, like and I think a lot of y'all that I've interviewed, that's
Mhm.
basically been the message. It's been just try a little bit, right? Like I had Splinterlands we did last week, and
Oh, okay.
Splinterlands is like anyone who's a Magic the Gathering or like a card game player. That's your entry point, right? We'll
Mhm.
talk about it in a couple of minutes, but say you play online poker, like there was a poker resource on the Hive blockchain that you
Mhm.
can become a part of, and that's your entry point. And it's also communal, so you can invite friends, and that can be their entry point. So
Right.
it's something where you don't have to feel like you have to ingest an entire generation's worth of technology knowledge
There
in
is
order
a
to take part.
lot of, I mean, I've been here 3.5 years, and there's a ton of stuff I don't know anything about. And honestly, the best thing to do is just be honest about it.
Yep.
I mean, because I mean, if you go into a group of people and they're, talking and you have no idea what they're talking about, and they ask your opinion, and I mean, and you can try to bullshit them, but
Yeah.
they're gonna know.
Hmm.
I mean, there's the nice thing about the blockchain is that it's filled with a bunch of people that, like, a lot of people, I should say, that didn't like fit in the real world, like going to school and stuff, that were always a little odd,
Yeah.
and nobody really understood their sense of humor.
Yeah. That's usually those make the most interesting people when they grow up. I can tell you that much. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
and
Yeah.
and so it's a neat place because you meet people that accept you for who you are, where you don't really get that out in the real world,
Yeah.
because you're supposed to conform and, whatever. I mean, there's still, I'm a big one for manners.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if somebody is not polite to me or is rude to me, well, I don't need to talk to you. But
Sure.
and that goes on blockchain. I mean, I'm the same person on or off. I mean, it doesn't matter. But that's my age too,
Right.
probably. I don't know.
Right.
Or my mom beat it into me, one of the two.
It's possible.
But I mean, you really can. The only thing that will stop you from getting anywhere on Hive, on the blockchain, is lying and people finding out about it.
Hmm.
Because once you get a really bad reputation for trying to, like, stick it to somebody, I don't know how a nice way of putting it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very large place, but stuff like that travels very fast.
Yeah. Well, not to mention the fact that it's on the blockchain. It's there forever. Like, you're not going to be able to displace yourself from it. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And that is exactly it.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Which, by the way, I'm glad we're not broadcasting on the blockchain on this one just yet. Shadows is going to get me in trouble. Yes, I did use the phrase "older folks." I reserve the right not to define that phrase. Let's just say anyone older than I am.
He's older than me, so be careful.
Well, I want to get to your specific projects that you're kind of involved in. Okay.
Okay.
So really quickly, the big one is FullAlt, right?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that?
It is a group of people that get together. Jack Miller, the guilty parties in the now, and they are doing Alt Yes, which is a way you can go anywhere on the web and you can take, say, an article that you read, and you can add a blurb to it and then post it on your blog with why you think that people should read this. Because one of the things was that when you reblogged something, you couldn't add in why you wanted people to read it or why you were reblogging it. So Alt Yes actually takes care of that. And but you can use it anywhere on the web, and it's a extension on your web browser.
Okay, so that's a way of taking. Does it remonetize it as well? So, like, if someone wrote a blog post and now you want to add to it, critique it, add opinion or something like that on the top of it, is that now also monetizable? Where if your comment is of value, someone can upvote that and you get rewarded for it?
Yes. Awesome. And you can also say you're taking somebody's post that's actually on Hive. You can do beneficiaries, so they could get half or 75% of the post because it's their post that you're commenting on, and
Yeah,
then,
you're piggybacking on. Yeah, yeah.
correct. So, I mean, there's all different ways of reallocating the funds on there.
And how does that? What's the logistics of it? Is it a browser plugin? Is that how it works?
Yes, it is a browser plugin.
Okay, so it would be similar to, and I always apologize for this, but I'm always going to try and kind of pull this back to the traditional Web 2.0 examples, just to like give people some that have some familiarity. It's similar to like almost like a Sniply or something like that, right? Where
I
you can
don't know.
basically you can take something and you can turn it into a piece of content that then has their original content, and then your little addition, whether it's a banner or a comment or something like that.
Right.
And it's basically just a little icon that's at the top of your browser that you can then basically
Yeah.
click and really seamlessly move it over, right?
Right. And
Awesome.
it'll tell you have to write so many words when you're using it
Okay.
so that it's not spam. I mean, you can't just go around and,
Oh wow, like
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I
Okay.
mean, they did make it so that it's not spammable. You have to have so many words on there to be a post in order to post it.
Mhm, mhm.
And then again, they have the different where you can, like, if I took one of Shadow's posts and then reblogged it, I could give her 75% or whatever. So,
Which by the way, Shadow now thinks I'm a chicken, which is
well, you
completely
are.
valid. It is. It is.
You are. That was the chicken answer. Smart answer, but it was the chicken answer. I will say smart answer though.
Yeah, that's different. Usually the A word that follows smart is a different word when people describe me. Um, so, all right. So that's all. Yes, it's a plugin. Is there anything else that comes along with it? Or is that basically the crux of it?
That's yeah. I
Okay.
mean, that's yeah. But it
Okay.
can be used anywhere.
So,
You can. I mean, you can grab Facebook stuff. You can grab anywhere.
but it pulls it onto the blockchain when you post it.
Correct.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Then
now
my
Hive tips.
is, say you're watching a YouTube video
Hmm.
and you have an extension also on your browser,
Mhm.
and once you have it on there, if you're watching a YouTube video or a Twitter post, anything, you'll see the little Hive logo,
Hmm.
and you would click on that, and then it'll pull from your Hive account, and you can tip somebody, say, to Hive.
Okay.
And you can do that to a YouTube video, to anywhere. It doesn't
Okay.
matter.
So I have to ask you some logistical questions now. So, all right, you see, say this stream, and you want to tip Hive to this stream.
Yeah.
What happens if I don't have a crypto wallet that I can access the Hive on?
Well, it will give you the blurb that comes up will tell you how to get a Hive account.
Okay.
And then if you don't want to, then after, I think, in and now, is it 30 or 60 days? 30 days, I think. I think it's after 30 days, it'll automatically go back to whoever tips you's account.
Oh, that's nice. So it doesn't like go into a black hole somewhere. It's
no.
reserved, and if they don't take it, then
And
it
then
goes back.
they have 30 days to take it. And then, and then it goes back. And if they don't, then it goes back to you.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you said that applies anywhere basically on the web. So any content, blog article, video,
Instagram.
anywhere. Awesome.
So, and you'll see like a little, it's a Hive icon, but it's like grayed out. So it's not obtrusive,
Okay.
but it is there. All of a sudden you'll start, and I would show you, but I have to.
Well, it's probably similar on my screen to, if you see in the bottom right, that little R, that's like my Ring Central icon right there.
Exactly.
It's similar to that, right? Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So Is the intent, I think when I was first looking at kind of like the overview of FullAlt, it
Mhm.
was the intent is to kind of fill in some gaps here, right? Like, so
Right.
the gap of not necessarily being able to reblog something with your own take on it or whatever.
Right.
Hive tips is kind of a really ingenious way of getting people onto the Hive blockchain, right? Because
Yeah.
if you have someone who's a creator on Hive and they collaborate or follow someone else and they're tipping them in Hive, it gives them an incentive to then, sign up and at least see what it's about, which is fantastic.
Well,
I
and it doesn't cost you anything to make an account. I mean,
mhm,
that's the great thing.
yeah,
There is no, I mean, so if somebody's sending you a tip, the hardest thing is trying to find a username.
yeah. So in the now said 30 days. So 30 days is the wait time before your Hive gets returned if it's not claimed. It looks like. And then Shadows is saying or asking, how would the author get notification? Is it like an email, a pop up? How does it usually come through?
I think it just shows up in your wallet when the payout comes.
Okay. Well, I'm saying in terms of like if it's someone who doesn't have a wallet, is it showing up like as a comment in their stream or I would
Oh,
imagine.
no, it would be a comment in the comment section of whatever post, whatever kind of post it was.
Okay.
So, okay, look at your Brisbee tipped you 5 Hive.
Hmm.
So if you go to your YouTube and check the comments
Oh, all right. Let me pull up YouTube real quick.
and check, under the comments.
Now I really do owe some beer here. All right, hold on one second. Let me get the screen share correct here.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta pull up this.
Thank you, Brisbee.
Yes, thank you. All right, so if we go here and I pull up the stream, I'm gonna have to pause it so I don't get duplicate info here.
Right.
All right, now let me see.
No, look under your comments.
Oh, the comments.
It should show up in the comments.
You know what? Hide chat. Oh no. I have the live chat. Why is the regular not showing up? Oh, this is, I might have to pull this up afterward. I forget how it books the regular chat.
Oh, the one, so it doesn't go under the thing.
Yeah, it might save afterward and kind of like imprint the chat afterward, I think.
Oh, I think you're right. I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it would basically show up here in, if it's not the live chat, it would show up down here as like a comment that,
Right.
such and such
Yeah.
user, tipped you 5 Hive, and what it would have a hyperlink that would send you to.
Well, actually, what you have to do is you write it tells you to put your username underneath that comment.
Okay.
And then that means that you've accepted it.
Okay.
And then it'll be right to your wallet.
Okay, awesome. All right. And so so you would have to go do the wallet sign up and then in the comment like put your username in and then it would like automatically transfer over. That's awesome.
Right. Yeah. So when you're all done and the comments are back to normal.
Yeah. I thank you, Brisbee. I appreciate it. That's fantastic. I wish I had been able to show that live.
Yeah,
but
I forgot about the live comment.
No, that's okay. I'm learning along with you.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I want to make sure that we're also talking about stuff that's coming down the pike here as far as FullAlt. So the next thing is this one live, Hive 101, basically the directory?
Yes, right? In the now, can you?
So if I click through to hive101.info,
It should have a bunch of.
we're
links.
loading. All right, here we go. Hold on. I got to switch my tab here. And so this is basically a directory of what?
Anything that you have questions about Hive.
Okay.
You should be able to find there.
So as opposed to, so this isn't necessarily a front end, right? Like this isn't
No,
necessarily like
it's
a user interface.
actually a grouping of like what the I want to learn more. What the hell am I doing? Where do I go to find this? I searched on Hive, but I can't find anything. You can go here and you can go through the different things and get some basic information.
Okay, so if I click through to gaming, right,
And
it
then you have
bring.
Bro Poker, which is actually now back to Luxax.
Okay, all right.
So that
So
needs to be switched.
so these are basically all apps where I could go play any type of game that's hosted on the Hive blockchain.
Correct.
Okay, and then this is uh, updated. How? Like, is this something that you have written a script that kind of like automatically updates every so often, or is this kind of like a curated directory that you and the group are kind of putting together so that you're basically highlighting the really most important parts that are coming out?
It's what was my second choice?
Yeah. Is it something that you're curating, or is this just pulling
No, it's
everything and anything?
really just trying to find everything and put it all in one place for people.
Okay.
It was Bro Poker or Brocino or whatever it was, and then they sold it, and Bethany is now the owner of it. That just happened not too long ago.
Okay, so let's highlight that. So, anything else to say about the Hive 101? I mean, this looks like there's a ton of information here. So
there's a ton, and that's what it really was. It's so that you can go to one place and you can find, there's the phone apps and which is, and it's continually being updated.
Okay.
Because now there's other apps that you can use too.
Yes, yeah. So that's good. So as kind of new stuff comes out, y'all are adding this to make sure that someone who's completely brand new or looking for a resource can come here and at least figure it out. The other thing that I would say is anyone who is a Discord person, there is a number of Hive Discord channels that are open.
Yeah.
Whether you be a dev or whether you're looking for information on one of the specific apps or just Hive in general, there's a bunch of those. And so you can always get in that Discord, chat and ask questions. My experience has been everyone is more than forthcoming to, help answer your questions and things like that.
It really, I mean, unless you come in and you're a Richard, I mean...
Yes, that's very accurate.
Yeah, I mean, everybody they're happy to see new people and more than helpful.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think that's been my experience almost universally. The folks in this ecosystem are and it's because everyone has a vested interest in the ecosystem being successful. If you hold Hive, you want the ecosystem to grow because that Hive becomes more valuable.
Right.
So, you're trying to bring people in and make them feel welcome. All right, so let's talk about, I played poker through college. I loved online poker. And so I know that you're not necessarily, the point person on this one, but I did want to, because we brought it up, I did want to highlight this. So this is, as I understand it, it is one of, if not the longest running poker apps on any blockchain, right?
Yes.
Okay, and it is for anyone who can't see the HTML, it's lucksax.com. So like luck as in lucky, LUCK, and then sax, SACKS.com. And I think you were explaining it to me before, but essentially, if I like to play poker, why would I come here? What can I do at Luxax?
Play poker for free and earn Hive.
Okay, awesome. I think it was mostly tournaments, right? That get hosted here.
There's free roll tournaments. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And you had said there is technically prize pools because folks are donating Hive to the prize pool.
Right. I used to. There was a I used to run a Snookum tournament, and it was like 5 hive, and that was split amongst the top 3. And the Alliance, I think that's a weekly tournament on Sundays, and I think that's 10 hive that you can win.
Okay.
It's a really nice group of people. It's just something fun that's relaxing, and I didn't mind running, giving hive, because it was like, it doesn't cost you anything, and it's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And you play a game, it costs you you want a new sword, it costs you $30, where you can go here, you get to know the guys. And
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to play poker. I'd never played poker in my life.
Yeah.
And there was a veteran tournament, and Guilty made me sign up. There seems to be an ongoing theme.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, I have not had Guilty on. I don't know if Guilty will come on, but
he won't. He doesn't do voice.
Guilty is like the guy behind the guy behind the guy. Guilty is the one quarterbacking a lot of this stuff for me. Bringing guests and voluntelling Snook to come on and talk. But so what's your favorite style of poker now that you know how to play? Is it one of the more conventional, like Texas Hold'em style, or do you like a different one?
Hold'em. I don't mind. I don't mind Omaha, but it's not my favorite.
Okay, yeah.
It was more fun, like when I would play with Jack Miller. He was playing for a while.
Yeah,
and he'd be like, when we play Omaha, he'd be like, "Why are there all these cards?" I said, "Okay. 2 in your hand, 3 on the board.
Yeah.
And then you got to make a hand.
Yeah.
What are we playing?"
Yeah. For anyone who does not play poker, going from having 2 cards and then community cards to having 4 cards and community cards is like, it's mind blowing. It's like a completely different ballpark. So
it really is.
Yeah.
And, so that was actually the funnest. What are we playing?
Yeah. Shadows, you're gonna have to put some pressure there on Guilty in order to get Guilty on the broadcast here.
And believe me, if me and Shadows haven't done it yet, it ain't happening.
We could always do like one of those witness protection videos, like modulate the voice and change the picture or whatever. I don't know. Maybe we might be able to work it out.
I'll have to send you. I did a Panther optional with Guilty. That was actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I will not share it openly. Don't worry. I won't put it out there. All right. Well, anything else about FullAlt that we didn't touch on? Anything else that's coming up, or any other aspect of it?
A Patreon.
Okay.
Then I don't have enough information to speak intelligently on it.
Okay. So you're saying it's kind of like a Patreon style solution for content creators and stuff like that, where you can routinely support them.
Yes.
Okay.
And now, any
looks like Alt Yes has browser extensions. So anyone who was wondering, Alt Yes has browser extensions for Chrome, Firefox, any Android device, and looks like no iOS, but I think more often than not you're probably going to be using it from your browser on your desktop.
Yeah.
So those are available. I'm just trying to think if I had any other questions that kind of came up with what we were talking about before. But I mean, everything is pretty much free to use, right? On the FullAlt platform.
Oh, it is. It's all free to use.
Awesome. Okay, so there's no carry cost or anything like that. No transaction fee or anything. That's also something that I've noticed about this ecosystem is a lot of the people here that are developing things, they're not developing them to get wealthy because of the application, right?
Right.
If they do end up making money, they're making money because they live and exist in the same ecosphere that everyone else does. So it's not the
Right.
app that they're selling, it's their expertise, their blogging, their time, their,
Yeah.
interaction and community building and stuff like that. So I love that because there's an inherent conflict of interest when when the person who built the platform isn't necessarily someone who has to live on the platform and kill what they eat, right? Like they're
Right.
basically making money off of everyone else's backs. This is completely different. So
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's you can spend 24/7 here, or you can come on, write a post, and leave. But you're not going to meet. You're not if you just do that, you're not going to get the full experience of being on the blockchain. But yet, if you just want to play poker and meet a bunch of cool guys, that you can play poker with, well, then that's all you have to do.
yeah.
And all you have to do is open up an account and just have one account. I mean, you can only sign up for poker with one account.
Right. No playing three of the positions at the table at the same time.
No, they are very, very, very. They will find you. They will find you.
And they probably have a cousin whose middle name is The. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I would not want to. No, I wouldn't want to be in that position.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, Snook. We covered a ton, so I want to thank you for that. Just so everyone knows, like I'm a little bit delinquent in my video editing, so there are going to be 101 videos for starting a wallet and what posting looks like and Hive versus staking your Hive and Hive Power and everything like that.
Well, video editing takes a lot longer than people realize.
Oh, yes, it does. Yeah.
And you have to be in the right mindset to edit video. I have backlogs of videos that I've never edited.
Yeah. Well, the most annoying thing is you get 5 minutes in and all of a sudden someone or something distracts you.
Yeah.
And then you have to come back to it and you're in a completely different mindset than when you edited the first 5 minutes.
What did I say that for?
Yeah.
Now I got to start all over.
Yeah. So, well, I want to thank you, Snook. I appreciate it. Taking the time and kind of doing this to help out anyone that might be interested about the Hive ecosystem and getting on there. I am a huge believer in decentralizing for a lot of political reasons, but also a lot of just kind of personal reasons in terms of the ease and the beauty of using the platform. And like you said, getting paid. Like if you're going to spend the time, you might as well get paid to do it, right? Well,
why not? I mean, you own what you have.
Yes.
I mean, it's on the blockchain. You own it. Why do it somewhere else?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, you can share it anywhere you want. You can share a Hive post to Facebook. You can share it to your own blog. But why? Have them come here.
Yep. Yeah. Have them. You know what? Share it there. But tell them, come here, come to the Hive platform in order to experience it firsthand. Because
then they can see all the other comments that people have left on your post too, and then they'd be like, "Well, how do you know all these people?" My mom, who's in her 80s, she's like, "Well, you know a lot of people."
Look, everyone can use a couple more friends. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I thank you again, Snook. Everyone who's still watching, or if you're watching the recorded version, look, if you didn't get your comments or questions in, hit up the recorded version with your comments and questions. I'll definitely try and get back to you with information or answers however I can. We're here every single Tuesday night at 5 p.m. And so I want to wish everyone a good evening. Have a good week. Thank you, Snook. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
There are so many reasons to decentralize, whether it's lack of control over your own data, platforms where you are the product and get paid little to no money, or censorship and government oversight into your personal communications. That's why I'm taking a journey to decentralize my social media as well as my life. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check out the Decentralize Everything playlist on this channel. Whether you're curious or looking to decentralize too, I would love your company as I make a move to break free, take control, and decentralize everything.